Less this way? No. Without.
It's about this.
Just a reminder for those of you here, if you plan on speaking during public comment, please make sure you fill out the card. Either we're gonna pick this up in just a minute and then the mayor will call everyone up, but it's just kind of so we know who's here and all that. So just make sure you fill that out if you want to talk until then. Thank you.
Everybody keeps asking that. I only have to look at one. I know what you're doing.
To what? No, I got a minute. But thank you. Huh?
Bring me up sauce.
Probably so.
Probably a bill.
You just
I got
came
one more
back
bag.
from Washington DC. Of course it's a bill.
I got one more bag.
I love you. You're my favorite now.
Everybody hooked on Journey's feelings about.
Oh, you have it? Yes.
That's my ultimate plan. Get everybody hooked on this jerky. We need to have it closed by 2 property.
Oh, God.
We have time.
Be long probably.
She doesn't have the YouTube link on here, does she?
Not that I know of. Is it? I think Jesse has it set up though, right? The YouTube link. Do you need one? I can get a YouTube link set up.
Yeah, it's on the other side.
Oh, it's on the
other
back.
side, yeah.
Okay. I see. Okay.
Right? There we go.
I'm going to send this to my sister. Since she's available. And you have to do the www.
It does
now.
work.
That's so
I checked it out.
frustrating.
Really?
For the longest time, I didn't have to do that. You could leave it out and it would still go to you.
So who's that one say for?
I just turned it on. And it's on.
Oh, we got
I gotta go.
Did you turn the mic off over there? So it's got enough battery.
The office is fixing down here. No.
I have to bring my headphones to monitor how it sounds. Although another.
Patrick's struggling with that. It was working a minute
Check.
ago.
We're having a meeting right now.
Oh, it's on.
There's something there, but it's real. Can you turn the volume up? Check. It's way low. Hello.
There we go.
Is that better? You hear it now? Everybody hear me? Okay.
There we go.
Not that one. It's all right.
Let's see how long tonight is.
Yeah.
This, her date is.
Thanks for your patience, guys. We're just about there.
Start now, turn that off.
I'll make out that. I just seen it on the agenda.
These are all the same. These two are the same. And this is two different.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna start this one. You can take a minute if you want to the film, but we're here. The live is on.
All right, welcome to Kearns City Council meeting today on February 9th. Happens to be my daughter's birthday, so it's a good day. We have a quorum, everyone's here. So looks like we have our stakeholders as well. Thank you guys for all being here, community residents. All right, and then we will go get into a public comment, public input. We can start with Nancy. Nancy Tapasoa.
Sorry, it's my first time. I don't know what, am I supposed to just?
You can
Okay.
fix it.
Oh, okay.
Just state your name.
Okay.
Just state your name.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, my name is Nancy Tapasoa. I am a resident of Kearns, and I just wanted to express my appreciation for the community council and the events that they put on. I am the vice chair for the My Kearns Community Coalition, and we are a substance use prevention coalition here in Kearns, and we're focused on lowering the rates of substance use among our youth here. And the things that the community council do are very important. One of the things that we look at are experiences, and these are things that happen in a child's life that might set them up for negative outcomes later in life. And the way that we combat that are by positive childhood experiences. And one of the important ones for that is community traditions. So traditions in the home, traditions in the community, and events that are put on. So that's what I want to say. Thank you very much.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention is we are doing, this is more of it's a pilot. So we're doing these public comment cards. This isn't necessarily to pick and choose who talks. It's more of being able to hold this information and go back and be able to keep it and figure out what the patterns are with the issues, ideas, concerns. And so just know that it's a pilot. It's not to pick and choose who gets to talk. Everybody gets that opportunity. And because of that, since this is new, I will give the option, if you haven't filled out a public comment card and you want to still, you still can. I will allow that and provide that for you guys today. So, because I want to be able to hear the public's comment, because that's important. And so I just wanted to communicate that as all. So thank you, Nancy, for speaking. Next would be Sherry Talbert.
Hi, my name is Sherry Talbert, and I'm a resident of Kearns. And I listened to the video that you guys had on Tuesday. And this is mainly with Patrick. I want to know, why are you so bent on the name council for the Kearns Community Council, since they've been a council for over 60 years?
I understand that. And I'm not,
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can go.
go ahead and finish, sorry.
And also, you didn't have a problem with that name when you were on the council.
Just keep talking, you can't respond right now.
So I just wanted to know, why do you have a problem with it now?
Finish your speech because he can't respond.
So anyway, that's what I wanted to know. I just don't understand that.
Do you have
Do you have anything else?
No.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you, Sherry.
We can hold comments until after you get
That's
through.
fine, that's fine. No problem.
All right, Levi Hughes, Chief.
It's just Levi Hughes right now. Thought you'd keep me out of your agenda. Let me start my timer. There it is. My name is Levi Hughes. I've been a volunteer in Kearns for about the past 25 years. It was some 25 years ago when I started as a patrol officer out here and quickly recognized the need for a little bit more in our community here. And at that time, being a sports fan myself, I brought my children and my family and some others and joined some of the sports that are happening in Kearns, the Babe Ruth Cal Ripken program, the Junior Jazz program. When I did so, there was a shortage of coaches. There were a lot of kids who didn't have parents in a situation that they could give that kind of time. And I wanted to be more than just a police officer to this community. And so I felt that investing my time, my own time, was the way to do it. As I did that, and over the years that came, I coached here directly for 7 years in this community. And then after that, many of the kids who played basketball and baseball for me followed me into different high school sports and went on some even to play some college ball. And I was grateful for that. But my comments today are the importance of the volunteer network that happens here in our community. And we have several people who volunteer. And I get paid to do things in this community, and I'm grateful for that, and thank this body for allowing me to serve in that capacity. But the truth of it is, the best time that I actually give you is the time I volunteer, because that's the time that really means something a little bit more. It's the time we give that doesn't come with anything else but the return and investment in growing a community. The community council, some 25 years ago, when I got to know them, I was so grateful for them and what they were doing. And I saw that council evolve over the years, members come and go. And those members of this community have continued to do exactly that. They've invested themselves into this community. And I know that we are in a time that funding is difficult and our money should be invested appropriately. And as I have watched the landscape of that develop over the last several years, the one thing that sets our community apart from so many others is we don't put on events so that people can profit. We put on events so a community can grow. And that's what makes us so amazing. That's what's made this city council so amazing over the years, is the investment they've made into the actual community. You can't go to another city to an event and feed kids for free. But this council, this city council, has made that possible where some of those children would not otherwise have that opportunity. The event that was done last year in the park just close by, that was so beautiful. That's the word I would use to describe that, where anybody could come, no matter the money they had or didn't, and they could participate in everything that they would like to do. And I would hope that this council here and our community council could find a way to continue to work together in unity and love, because that's what this community is based on. And I'll continue to give you my service as your chief, but more importantly, I'll give you my time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Levi. Jackie Martin? Yes. Okay. All right, Dan Sanchez?
Hi, I'm Dan Sanchez. I'm just the Kearns person as well. I just wanted to say thank you for the police and fire department. They're doing a really good job. Thank you guys for actually being up here. And thanks to the community council and the city council. Despite all of the confusion and everything, I just wanted to say thank you guys for getting up out of your house and coming in the community. I think that's phenomenal. It's something that I appreciate. I definitely think it's something that is more needed. Everyone to kind of just step up and put all our differences aside and just unite for the community. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. All right, Danielle Sanchez?
All right.
Dan.
Okay, I'm Danielle Sanchez from District 4, and I wanted to bring some good news to you guys tonight, a highlight for Kearns. So I stand before you right now as a debate mom. Kearns High School Debate has 2 students who qualified for the national tournament in Virginia this upcoming June, and that's Jenny Chow and Vita Sanchez. This is a huge accomplishment for them because this program, they have very limited resources. And so because they're not going as a full team, they are unable to fundraise as a team. That means families are individually responsible for covering their travel costs and for bringing a judge along with, which is required for participation. So you will hear from me in the community asking for some sponsors in the upcoming weeks. But there is something that the team needs help with right now. And for every debate tournament, schools are required to bring a certain number of judges based on how many student entries they have. When there aren't enough judges, students are forced to drop out of events, or the school has to pay for judges, which is a significant burden. And most schools solve this by community involvement and volunteers. Judging does not require debate experience. You just need a laptop or a tablet, and all scoring is done online. And there's training videos and guidelines that they do provide. And we are desperately needing 20 volunteers this month alone. We have 2 upcoming tournaments, February 20th and 21st in Lehigh, and February 27th and 28th, the regionals locally here at Hunter High School. And you can judge one day, you can judge both days, but they are in desperate need. So we're asking for any volunteers who'd like to come and give it a go to see me after, or reach out to the Kearns High School coach. Having community members step in shows real support for these students. Debate teaches critical thinking, research, and the ability to understand multiple perspectives, skills that truly matter. We have some amazing kids. They deserve to be supported. So thank you for anyone who'd like to help.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Cassandra Hodges? Cassandra.
Ready?
Yes.
All right, you guys bear with me. I hope you can hear me. I've got a couple of questions, and these questions go straight to you guys. Okay, my big problem is city funds. That's for our city, correct? Every little penny is supposed to go back into our city. I got a big question about this $20,000+ spent on electronics. For laptops, where are they at? Where are they? Because obviously I'm seeing that they never get used. Because all the meetings, they're not there. So therefore, I think that's ignorant, because that $20,000 could have gone to something with our community. Go help the kids that are freaking hungry instead of spending on stupid electronics. I'm sorry, I think it's dumb. And if that's the case, then that is city property. Let us see what's on them. Are you using them for personal, Or is it just for city business? And I think we have a right to see that and to know that. Because if it's spent with our funds, let us see them. That's my big thing. And cell phones, that's stupid. That one was another stupid one. Everybody already has one. Why not give an incentive of $25 a month to help pay for a cell phone bill? Instead of there again, taking more money from our city to pay for something else that is stupid and pointless. That's the problem with society. Stupid elections. Move past them, you guys. Step away from them and start doing everything face to face. Thanks.
All right, is there, like I said, we have the comment cards, but I'm allowing if anybody else has a comment, they can still speak. If they want to provide the, Janet, do you? Okay. Okay.
My name is Janet Nurden, and I'm a resident of Kearns. And first of all, I want to thank you for all that you do to serve our community. It makes a big difference. One thing I want to talk about tonight is in our society, a lot of public conversations seem to feel tense, and people are frustrated and care deeply about a lot of different issues. And sometimes that comes out in ways that divide us more than unite us. At this point in Kearns, we really need to find ways to unite ourselves as a community and to get rid of some of this division. And that's why I'm here to introduce you to what's called the Dignity Index. And I don't know, I just recently found this ran into this the other day on the internet. And it's an 8-point matrix. I'm a teacher, so we like to evaluate how we're doing. And it's a great way of looking at that. But it's an enlightening and a thought-provoking way of evaluating our communication and our dialogue based on its power to divide or to unite. And it's really not a rule book, but a shared guide. And it's for me just as much as it is not just for the city council, not just for the community council, it's for all of us as a community. The Dignity is about one simple idea. Even when we disagree, we don't take away from each other's humanity. It helps us notice when our words invite understanding and when they shut it down. And we've seen this so much on Facebook recently, as well as some of the dialogue I've heard. It reminds us that dignity isn't about being polite or quiet. It's about being accountable, curious, and respectful, especially when things are hard. And I have to give credit to the City Council and the Community Council for having a very difficult discussion last week and being willing to address some of those hard issues. But this applies to all of us. Residents speaking at the microphone, leaders making decisions, and neighbors talking online or at the dinner table. We don't have to agree, but we do have to live together. So if we all model dignified language, it sets the tone for our whole community. And if residents feel respected, they're more likely to stay engaged and involved, even when they're disappointed or upset. And so using the Dignity Index is a way of saying everyone here matters and how we treat each other matters too. So thank you for listening and thank you for all that you do to serve our community. And if you're interested in this, I did bring a copy of that you could look at. This is on the Kim C. Gardner website from the University of Utah. There's more information about it. And I think it'd be a great way to promote things in our community and on public discourse on the internet and elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
They're all laughing because it's a chance for me just to open my big mouth. That's what it is. Anyway, my name is Jeff Thomas.
Real quick, were you able to fill out a?
No, I did not.
Could you do that afterwards?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I will do that in just a second. Anyway, I am not a member or from Kearns. I come from West Jordan. But I was introduced to my girlfriend from Kearns and her family, and have got to participate in the community council and be part of their events here. And it has become a home away from home. It's been a lot of fun. You know, we volunteer at the dinners and do a lot of things with the parade, and it's been a lot of fun, and it's been really, really fun to watch the sense of community. I come from North Idaho, so I mean, you're out in the woods and yeah, anyway. It's been really, really fun to be a part of a little tight-knit community like Kearns. And we come every year and volunteer as much as we can to the different events. And I just want to say, without the council reaching out to us, and it wouldn't be here. And it's been really, really fun to call us a home away from home. Anyway, thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, anybody else? Going once.
I'll fill out one.
Thank you.
My name is Krista Harris. Sherry Calvert's my mom. I grew up here in Kearns. Said girlfriend of the guy that was just up here. I honestly, I love Kearns. I have to say I'm a little embarrassed as of late to say I'm from Kearns because of how the city kind of has fallen apart. Something needs to be done about people taking care of their houses, yards, cleaning up the community. Too many cars on the roads. I can barely get to my mom's house to park because there's so many cars all the time on the main roads. But I still love this community. Like you said, we come all the time because Paula is a great community council leader, and I love to volunteer for the Kearns Hometown Days, the parades. We do 801 Rocks every year on that. Driven my buggy down the road, everything. So we really enjoy that, and we'd like to keep doing that, volunteering for the events. But the community council keeps me involved, even though I live in West Jordan now. So thanks for listening.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? I really want to provide as much input from the public before we move on, so. Okay, all right, well, thank you guys. Did you want to?
No, I'll respond afterwards there.
Afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay,
Unless you want me to. Now.
up to you. I'm gonna.
Your call.
I'm just gonna move this on the other side so when they do presentations with their laptops, they can put their laptops.
Okay.
I'm just trying to decide the best.
I just want to.
take. I think this might be it. I want to put it behind the things. That's what I was kind of thinking. I was trying to go behind the camera. We weren't in the way of it.
I'll volunteer to do that.
Perfect. Awesome.
Oh, we have the actual, yeah, he's just gonna get set up. And then Jesse can get the consent agenda while he. You have a minute, we got. He wasn't here. Okay.
so you can zoom with the consent agenda and go on.
Right. So before we move on, I just want to make things a little clear about what we've been purchasing as a city. So as we continue to, build what our leadership will look like, it takes some time for one, and I've had some help with, our current council members and a lot of good ambition and ideas from our new council members. When we went out, here's the thing, is being a city, great. I think it's amazing that we're a city now. With being a city comes a lot of responsibility, and that's what we got to figure out. We're still in the beginnings of where Chief is helping us a little bit with this, but we really don't even have a place where to go to meet with constituents. We do not have a city hall.
No.
And so we are building from the ground up in a sense. And it's gonna take money to get where we need to go. Now, basing it off the equipment, I just want to make it clear that this was, the help of prior administrating helping with this, and which I appreciated, because without having that with our past mayor, this wouldn't be possible. So she, having that help has been great. On top of that, we all can look at value a little different. For one, we do need our own equipment to do our jobs. For two, is it cost of value up front, or is it cost of value, in the long run? And in a sense, to determine that, it wasn't any $20,000 for 5 laptops and our phones, just to make that very clear. It was not that. And that's really, other than that, that's the only thing that's.
What was it? I was told it was 25. Well, I was told it was 30, and then I think there were some discounts found.
Yeah,
That brought the price down.
discounts found. So we all got Lenovo computers, and I don't even know if I really need to explain much, but just so we can.
Well, yeah, it's city money that.
Right.
For the community, right?
Right, but how do we do our job? How do we do our job without having this equipment?
The last council do it.
We have a lot of catching up to do. Let's put it that way. We have a lot of catching up to do, and I believe it was around 10 grand that we spent is what it's going to take at that point. Yeah,
with that $10,000.
we have a lot of catching up to do, and we need to be able to have at some point our own city hall, places to meet. We got to have our own computers. We have our own phones, so constituents can call us, because technically we shouldn't have our personal phones alongside with our business phones. These phones were cheaply found through the same company, through Motorola. And guess what our bill is for a month, every month for all 5 of us? It's $50 a month. So if you think the city is wasting our money like that, we have that in our best interest. And so yes, to a resident, it's a lot of money. $10,000 is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But when it comes to an organization, it's going to take that to get us where we need to go. And so I just wanted to be transparent about that and understand where we're coming from.
Then
And
to settle how a lot of people in the community are feeling about that amount of money that a lot of us have been told, exactly what do you need the computers for? Explain it to me so that then I understand. Okay, the phone thing, if it's $50 a month, that's one heck of a deal. Tell me how you did that so I can go do it, because I need that deal too. But
so I don't want this to
exactly
be a back and forth conversation.
No, it's
I
not.
just wanted
explanation.
to acknowledge and
You said transparency in
yes,
your
exactly.
election,
And the
so let's-
acknowledgement,
that.
the acknowledgement is if we want to go further as a city,
It's a First Amendment right.
if we want to go further as a city, we're going to have to spend money. And this, quite honestly, we haven't spent anything. I haven't spent anything, to this date.
Oh.
And so I just want to make that clear. Okay. I don't know what else. I feel like we over communicated that a little bit, but again. Yeah.
So Cassandra,
Given the answers now, because I don't see.
Cassandra?
So I will continue, yes.
So the prior council, I used my own personal laptop. So I had city email and I had my own personal email, and that's what I used. And sometimes I would get stuff confused, not deliberately, just happens. Same with my own personal, I used my own personal cell phone back then. That's the first time I've ever had a city phone. I've been doing this for 9 years. I've been on this council. So it's a little odd for me too. I realize that, and I can understand your concerns. I really do. But right now with the laptop situation, now I'm not using my own personal computer. It is, and I'll be more than glad to bring it to your house and let you look through it. I have no problem. I'll let anybody look through my computer.
What are you using them for that you needed it so bad for? That's the thing. It's like things get done and no one's getting an explanation. And we've all been sitting back of, all about communication, transparency, all of this. And people are sitting back saying, okay, well, this, and this is happening. And we're not getting the information because a lot of people aren't coming out and asking, right? And so that's why I'm asking. I'm not trying to do it to call out BS crap or anything like that, to be mean. It probably comes off that way because it irritated me. And I just want an explanation as to what you need that for. Mayor?
It's to future-proof the
Mayor,
city.
Can I address that?
And
Yes, please.
yeah, after this again, we're city, it's gonna take money. Unfortunately, we gotta figure out how to do that, okay? Being a city is great. Yay, we got that freedom, but now we have all these responsibilities. And we're not gonna be able to, on a legal aspect, it's the right thing to have our own phone, or city phone alongside with our personal phones and it be separate. That's how it should be anyways.
Right.
On top of that, this was, as far as I'm aware, this was happening whether I won or not. Whether it was me that won this seat or not, this was happening. And all what happened is we were able to go in and yes, I was able to make those picks. And with the mind of the city, how we spent that money is always going to be an importance. Always. You're not going to agree with what I say all the time, and that's fine. And I've learned very, very early on that I can't be everybody's hero, and that's okay. But you deserve the transparency, you deserve the communication, and that's what's that. And Nathan, you can go ahead and speak.
Yeah, I'm the city attorney, just to provide a little bit more legal background. The recommendation for public officials, city council members who are elected to have separate computers and phones comes from the state auditor's office. And the reason for that is that any record that they create is a public record that you as members of the public can submit a grammar record for. And so in terms of how the computers are used, I can just say, I'm emailing the council and the mayor every day. Here's a contract to look at. Here's the agenda to look at. Here's a draft resolution. All the stuff that this council is copied every day, multiple times a day on city business. And we don't want, and the state auditor doesn't want that information being commingled with their personal stuff. So for instance, if someone submits a grammar request, for instance, hey, I want all the communications on X, Y, and Z, we don't want to have the mayor to have to pull it out of his personal laptop or to have to give the laptop to staff, to me to have to pick through all of that. One, it takes more time and it's more taxpayer dollars for us to sort through what's personal and not. And it's just easier and it's more compartmentalized. And so this is something we've been working on for a long time as a city to get in line with what the state's requiring. And just today, in terms of the phone, during the legislative session, which we are now, Councilmember Colby, the mayor, and Councilmember Longton are all your representatives to the league. The league is sending out texts by the minute saying, hey, this bill is coming up. It does this, and there are two bills that are of dire importance to Kearns that your council members have been texting their representatives in the House to make sure that we cannot, that these bills pass or don't pass. And so they're getting text communications from county council members, from members of the U.S. House of Representatives. And so we don't want that type of communication, that type of sensitive, confidential. I don't want my attorney-client communications with the city council being subject to a records request because it's commingled with their personal accounts or their computers. And so just like most people have to have a computer today and to work, like that's my work computer, people have work phones, the city council's in the same boat. And I know for a lot of people that may not work in this type of fast-paced environment, that why do you need a computer or a phone? But I can tell you, I'm texting and emailing these guys. So is Diana, so is the MSD staff, so is Dan Hoffman, who's going to go over the finances in a little bit on almost a daily or a weekly basis. So I can tell you just they're using it because I can show you the emails. And it is a public record. So that's part of why we want to keep it separate. So if somebody does submit a grammar request, let's say they submit a request for something Lauren did. Lauren can say, here's my phone, staff, read through it, send them all. It's a lot easier and cheaper than having to dig through their personal stuff and separate it.
Okay, that made way more sense and I'm good now.
I appreciate that. And
I get it.
And I wanted to make sure we at least got that out there. Normally when we would respond back to the public comment, we don't want it to be a two-way road, but I just wanted you to feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
It's going to take, we need
Yeah.
tool, like, in order for us to do our job, we really need the tools. And right now we're starting from the ground up doing that. And so,
May I? So you were here last Tuesday, and I had a computer here. That was the city computer. I had some issues trying to get on the internet, and that didn't work out. And finally, I just closed the top and said, I can't use it right now. And so that's why I decided not to bring it today till I can work out the internet issue and some other things that were going on with clicking.
But one other thing, as we went over the training, council members aren't supposed to be submitting electronic communications while they're up here on this. They're not supposed to be communicating with each other, they're supposed to be talking. So it's a best practice for them not to be texting or having their computers typically, unless it's to see a presentation or something. So that's another reason why they really need their computers and electronic stuff for outside of the public.
Yeah, and I use that at home. Yeah.
We get documents that we have to read. It's not necessarily just council, but, we all sit on different boards. UFA, I get documents from them that I have to read. It's nice to have something so that you can actually go through and do your job.
all right. All right, we can move forward to approve the council minutes from January 12th. Were you all able to look through that? Okay. You want to go ahead and motion to approve them?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes for January 12th of 2026.
I'll second them.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, really fast. I know it's been really, really busy the past few weeks, and it's going to be like that for a while, and that's okay. We're getting things done. I wanted to talk about planning and scheduling a possible strategic retreat just amongst our council. Would you guys be interested in that? That's something that we can really focus on the vision of,
Mayor, if you could speak up just a little bit.
Yes.
I can hear you back
Yeah.
here.
I'll grab that mic.
Go ahead and sit down. Okay.
Is it louder now?
I think what it is I think you have to hold it up closer to your mouth. So when we have it here, I think everyone's just far enough away. It's not quite grabbing enough of it.
Awesome. Thank you for letting us know that. So I would like to propose that we do a, strategic retreat, really trying to figure out the vision of Kearns. And I feel like we really could use that. Try to get on the same page, figure out some dates. I know I mentioned I wanted to, start some listening tours with residents. I think that would be a perfect time to schedule all that kind of stuff. And then really, pick your guys' brains on, maybe your top priorities or top 2 or 3 priorities and go from there. Would that be something that we could do?
I'm just looking at my calendar.
Yeah, is that what we're supposed to be doing right now?
Yeah. Can we schedule for
retreat?
And that's what on the agenda,
Okay.
it has the option to schedule it. So just kind of let me know and I'll kind of work with you guys to find a day when I'm available and we can.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
Maybe that you need to-
pick that later date maybe, or later tonight, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Mayor?
Would you like me to provide a little bit more background on how these retreats typically work?
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you, Nathan.
So this is something that the Kearns hasn't done before, but it's a common practice for most cities, including other cities that I represent, that once a year, typically at the beginning of the year, the council will hold a discussion-only meeting. Sometimes it's all day, sometimes it's a half day, sometimes it's less, just depending on the needs to talk about visioning for the city, what they want to do. And since you have so many new council members, I suggested that to the mayor, and the mayor, as I think, has been working on a lot of visioning things anyway. And it's hard to have time to have a substantive discussion in these meetings because we have minutes to approve and resolutions to adopt and a lot of public comment to go through. And so I suggested that you find some time to do that. Now, when it comes to scheduling, there is no right or wrong answer to that. It's just, I would suggest that you find a time when you can do it during the day. when you're not tired and you can really think. Some cities will do it on a Friday because those typically tend to be lighter, or they'll sometimes do it on even a Saturday, which the staff are willing to do just to make sure that everyone's available and you're all fresh and you can think about it. It's something my firm does every year. We typically do it on a Friday and a Saturday. But the idea of this, and the mayor and I had a good discussion on the difference between a workshop and a visioning session. And so, for instance, a couple weeks ago, we had a workshop in which I went through some training for the council. Remember, I did Open and Public Meetings Act training, and I went through just the annual ethics requirements that Kearns has in its code. That was focused on that training. So workshops are usually more specific to a particular item, whereas a strategic planning meeting is for you guys to develop a vision for the city and develop your goals and priorities as a council for the year. And then that way the staff knows what you want to do, and we're coordinating and you're prioritizing your resources effectively. That's typically how these go. There's no requirement that you do it. There's no rules for it, but that's typically how they work.
Awesome. Great explanation.
Nathan really said that well. We have so much to go through with the council meetings, and I really want us to focus on, that visionary. So we can come up with a date more towards the end of the meeting. That's fine with me. Okay.
We'll circle back.
Yeah, we'll circle back. So we have presentation items. Richard Stevens.
Next thing will be Chad.
Oh, Chad. Sorry about that. Here.
Something just happened.
Yeah, it's good. We're gonna use your computer.
Yep.
So while he gets, I just don't want to plug it in until he's where he wants to be.
I see. Okay.
Actually, I'll just start by going over our current capital projects.
I was gonna go grab
That's
another one in a sec, yeah. Okay, I'll let you that.
Okay, quick update on our current capital projects. Can you hear me? Okay.
Just
stand over here.
should hopefully come up if you have it. Oh, you're not plugged in yet.
No, I'm just gonna discuss. Okay, we have a near-term capital project that will add a median on 6200 South, near 5600 West. It's a median that's intended to prohibit left turns into and out of some of the businesses there that have had some very serious accidents there in recent years. Anyway, that's, I think, a very good project to improve public safety. We have a ongoing corridor study for 5400 South. Basically looking what that corridor will look like, 10 years from now. This is the beginning planning for what will be a future project. We have a road safety audit for 4420 West. That was a road that we changed the speed limit on a few years ago without fully understanding the safety concerns of that road. So we have a road safety audit to better understand those concerns. We have a large sidewalk maintenance project that will be, we're kind of in the process of bidding right now. I got one bid back. Anyway, addressing most of the sidewalk concerns that we've heard of in the last year or so. We have a funded project for the concrete wall and sidewalk widening for 6200 South for much of the Kearns area. We have a raised crosswalk on Northwest Avenue. 4420 West sidewalk is a federal project we're working on right now. And a bunch of ped ramps around South Kearns Elementary and a roadway overlay in the Heath area. So I guess that's a quick run through. I can give details on whatever projects people might be interested in, but anyway, that's what we're working on. Yeah.
When are the South Kearns ones?
It'll be pretty much as soon as things start to warm back up. So they're bidding right now. Yeah. Yep. Well, it's warmer than it should be, but when we get into construction season.
Would you repeat what you said about Heath Avenue?
Heath, we're trying to do we're going to be doing a big roadway project in the Heath area. A lot of the roads are in bad condition. So yeah. So we're going to be milling and overlaying those, basically bringing their condition back up.
Awesome.
Yeah. Some of that's being done by us, the engineering side, and some of it is being done by Salt Lake County operations. But anyway, there's a lot of those will be done this year. So, cool. All right, with that, talk about our recommendations for the coming year. Yeah. Okay, this.
Well, you're gonna get blinded.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not good. Maybe we can move the table.
Want me to volunteer to help?
Scooting out. Okay, short version is we will be spending most of 2026 spending down the remaining bond funds and some of the remaining ARPA funds from 2020. Anyway, and we have a few projects that we're recommending to fund that we'll address after that. These are most of the other major concerns that I know of in Kearns. So it's a study for a potential transportation impact fee, another study for potential transportation utility fee. We got a request for lighting on the Kearns side of 5600 West and West Slope Drive. It's currently the power lines are on the far side of the street, so there's basically we're saying that's probably $25,000 project. So anyway, that's what we're proposing to budget for that. Have kind of a knowing that the street lighting in Kearns is something that the mayor has an interest in. We'd like to budget for $100,000 to, for a project that will yet to be defined for street lighting. And then 3 drainage projects from the Kearns master drainage plan. There's one labeled priority A, and there's one that's B and one that's C. These are all known issues, and these are, the cost estimates that go with them. So, that's what we propose to take to the MSD Board of Trustees, and basically the MSD Board then kind of determines what actually gets funded for construction. But this is basically Kearns's projects in order of priority as recommended by engineering. So, of course, open to input and discussion, questions, whatever. So. Any questions, thoughts?
Thanks for presenting this, Chad, and it was great to meet up with you and really go down the rundown of all this. So,
yeah, I guess, is council good with these projects as recommended in this order, I guess? Or do you have any that you'd like to add to this or replace, reorder, anything like that?
No, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Cool.
Crystal Lauren.
Look good. Looking at it, looking good. Really lighting. I'm good.
Is it possible to get a copy of this?
Yeah, be happy to send it to you.
So I was actually gonna ask I'll email you and ask you for a copy, and then I'll include it with the minutes, and I'll send it to you guys.
I'll make it a
Thank you.
PDF, so it's
That'd be awesome.
not an Excel document. Okay. All right, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I've got.
I'm just gonna leave it on there. I'm gonna try to real quick and see if it lets us use this microphone, and if it doesn't put that back up on the wall, we're gonna find out. This is the emergency.
All right, quarterly financial report with Daniel Hoffman. How are you?
Good.
Watch your step.
The camera over. Oh, that's right, you don't have a computer. So you have his presentations with the pie charts and the graphs, those are Daniel's, but he's gonna go over.
I didn't bring a presentation, I just brought some handouts. Okay. So I know looking at a financial statement with hundreds of numbers can get kind of overwhelming and be kind of boring. So I made just a couple really simple charts to give us a quick idea of how the city of Kearns is doing. By regulation and by recommendation, we come and present every quarter to say how the city of Kearns is doing quarterly. If we look at this report I made and gave out, We have two categories. One side is our revenue versus what we budgeted. Our budget for revenue is what we're expecting to receive. Okay. We received 43% of what we were expecting to receive. Our revenue comes mostly from sales tax. So that's sales tax from local businesses, sales tax from buying gasoline. There are also some fees and permitting revenue. We do have a few small other sources like MET taxes. But a big misconception is that we're receiving property taxes. City of Kearns does not receive any property taxes. We're almost completely funded by road taxes and sales tax. Okay. So we received about 43% of what we were expecting to receive. It's kind of hard to tell and determine what we think a city is going to receive in sales tax. So for example, if the economy goes down and people spend less, then you can receive less sales tax. Or let's say like the price of gasoline goes down, that's good for you, but that means we collect less sales tax. So those are some factors that can affect how much sales tax revenue we receive. If we look at our expense chart, we've spent 41% of our budget and we've gone halfway through the year. That is fantastic. You really want to try to stay at 50% or less when you're halfway through the year. And so I'm happy to report that Kearns is staying within their budget. They're not overspending. And that's what we really like to see. I did print off a 7-8 page financial statement. It shows all the funds owned by the city of Kearns. A fund is best described as you could see like it's a money pool that holds the funds in reserve for that city. Then budgets are created to determine how those funds should be spent, how those monies should be held in reserve. And sometimes we'll have things that are called like restricted funds. Sometimes we're given money that says, hey, you can only spend this money on a very specific thing, like a very specific road project or a very specific community project. We can't spend it on anything else. And so those are called restricted funds. And so here are the financial statements. There are lots and lots of numbers. It's very confusing. I went ahead and highlighted the very most important numbers to try to make it easier for everybody. So our first page, I'm going to try to go through this as fast as I can. I think a lot of you have never seen these before, so I'm going to explain more than usual. I'm trying to explain as easy as I can. I am an accountant, so if you have questions, please just let me know. If we look at our first page, our main city fund, I went ahead and highlighted how much cash and cash equivalents we have. We have 1.8 million. That is really good. We always want to stay as a city cash positive. If we look down at fund balance, our fund balance is 3.5 million. A fair amount of that is for restricted. So it's like, hey, if we receive certain funds, we have to save it and we can't spend it unless it's for a very specific purpose. Okay, so both these numbers are looking great. We always want a city who's fiscally responsible and staying within their budget and staying cash positive. We don't want to be a city that's borrowing money to try and stay financially afloat. If we go to our next page, page 2, I just highlighted several of the main revenue sources. I already talked about how we get most of our revenue through sales tax and through road funds. We also get a little bit from licensing and permitting, 116,000. Engineering or planning services, 17,000. So people do pay fees to the city when they want to do developments or add-ons to their homes or things like that. We also do get some justice court fees. So when there's legal things that happen within Kearns, people are required to pay fees to come to court, and we do collect those fees. And we spend all of those fees paying for judges and court expenditures. We do get a little interest. So we don't just have Kearns money sitting in a checking account doing nothing. We're required by law to put it in a savings account that earns interest. So for this year, we've made $53,000 in interest. So total revenue, including contributions, is 6.3 million for the year. That's great. We're doing good. The next page is our expenses. So every year I get together the MSD helps them in creating a budget. And then we do our best to follow that budget. And it's called an admin budget, and that's what page 3 shows is our admin expenses. The main purpose of this budget is to pay for administration and a lot of expenses that are directly related to Kearns. Overall, we're doing great on this budget. We're halfway through the year, and we're at about 28.5% of budget. So we're well below the 50%, which is great. I did highlight several categories where we went a little bit over. That can happen, especially in an election year, when we're getting people leaving, we're getting people coming in, and there's a lot of transition costs. There's also a lot of voting costs. We mailed out a lot of mailers, a lot of notices to the public. We spend a lot of money just on like stamps and sending out notices to our citizens. And so that accounts for most of the costs that were more than expected. It is okay for us to go a little over in one category and a little under another category, as long as our whole admin budget stays within check. So 28.5% is staying within check. We haven't gone over the 50%. And so I'm happy to report that I'm very happy with our admin expenses, and we're staying within what we should be. Kearns has a second fund. It's our Kearns Beer Tax Special Fund. It is currently not being used right now. So I have nothing to report on that. Our third fund is our Community Reinvestment Agency Fund. We've spent some legal fees just in handling some legal. That's all I have to report for the reinvestment fund. The last fund I'm going to talk about is called the Kearns Council Designated Fund. So there are a few taxes that Kearns receives that are specific to Kearns, okay? And we've made an agreement with the MSD. Normally when Kearns receives sales tax or road funds, they take that money and they give it over to the MSD so that our engineers can plan and build roads, repair bridges, do sidewalks, do big projects. But there are some types of taxes that we don't do that, and we hold them back, and they're complete discretion for the city council to use how they'd like. So we call these our MET. They're like telecommunication taxes, Google taxes, taxes on energy. And right now our fund is sitting at about $1 million. And I want to let the city of Kearns know that you are allowed to spend that money. You get to decide. The MSD doesn't get to decide for you. So you have $1 million at your disposal for doing whatever projects or improvements to your city that you believe is needed. And so that's everything with the financials. I have a few other things to talk about. Do I have any questions before I continue?
That was an excellent breakdown. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. You're also welcome to email me if you have questions later. I honestly understand a lot of people get questions later on, so you're always free to message me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
I have just a couple more items I want to talk on.
Okay.
I'll try to be brief. It is budget. It is that budget time of year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assigned to the city of Kearns to help you guys in any way I can. I don't make the budget decisions for you. I can provide guidance. I can provide background. I can say, hey, this is what we did last year. We can look at trends. But in the decision on what the budget and the budget parameters should be. So personally, I would really like if we could, in the near future, have a meeting where we all sit down and we work on next year's fiscal budget together. The city of Kearns works on a fiscal budget. That means we start July 1st and we go through June 30th. Okay? So we have 4 or 5 months before our next fiscal year. To go along with that, we're trying something new this year. We are establishing a finance committee with the MSD. And so what we would like to ask the city of Kearns is if you could pick 2 members of your council that could come and be part of a finance committee. 2 members of your council that we can talk even more in depth about finances and budgets, who can be representatives for your city on financial matters. So it'll be up to your decision on who's part of that council. But we would definitely love to have 2 people who could come and participate.
Excellent. When do you want to have us do that by?
Within the next couple days, if you could let me know.
Okay.
So that's something that would probably require council action, is not noticed up on the agenda. Is it a problem if they do it in March?
That's fine.
Okay. And I would say in the meantime, that falls naturally under the mayor's statutory responsibilities anyway. That's the chief executive officer of the city, so the mayor would typically be.
We'll get that to you.
Other than that, that's about everything I have. I will be sending out some emails about budgets, just giving you some information, and I will be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Absolutely. That was a great presentation. Both of you. I like the graph.
Yeah. All right. So some action items and discussion. Discussion and potential action regarding the Kearns Community Council. Oh, we need a. Thanks. No, we need that.
I tried to get another one working, but they're either for the other ballroom or didn't want to hook up to the system. So, but next time we will have a second one. It is an option. We will figure it out.
All right, one of our topics is regarding the community council, and we have to go over the budget. Council members, we had a visionary workshop last week. Or was that? We had a visionary workshop. We're still in the progress. You guys have any other questions before we get into it? Any other information? Okay. All right. Paula, Sue, were you guys able to obtain more information when it came to, they were able to send the budget, but was there something, there wasn't any?
Bank statements or something.
Okay. Do you guys
I
have?
didn't have any other requests.
Okay.
I emailed all of you. I did email all of you addressing it about the section in our bylaws. And you all got a copy of that, and we corrected that you guys had an extremely old copy of our bylaws. I don't know where you got that from. But I sent that correction in an email to all of you. That was the only thing I was asked.
Okay.
In addition to what you already received, which Patrick had asked for some figures, which I provided, we provided those for you last Tuesday.
That was a spreadsheet.
Balances,
That was a spreadsheet. I asked for bank balances, Paula.
and that's what you got.
That was a spreadsheet,
Isn't that what, Susan, you want to answer that question?
all I'm saying is it just, in the public eye and in my eye, it looks like anybody could have made that Excel spreadsheet. That's all I'm trying to say.
So were you requesting bank statements? Because that was
I
not.
thought that's what I said.
It was absolutely said in that meeting.
I thought that's what I said. I asked for bank statements.
It was, I remember.
And you were gonna redact people's names or anything that was on there, and I agreed with that. But I haven't seen anything, so I still can't make an informed decision. Because I don't have all the information.
Okay, well.
That's what I asked for, and that was
You
it.
were a little confused on that. I apologize.
Because you know what, when I see an Excel spreadsheet dated last Monday's date, to me, that looks fishy. I'm sorry, I'm a very skeptical individual when it comes to money.
Then we missed that, and besides that, you should have got those every year from.
I've never seen one. That's all I'm trying to say,
And I've
okay?
been on the council, and it's the first time you've asked, I guess that's where I.
Okay, well,
I know the other years, yeah.
well, and be up to speed too, you know?
Provided that he used to be the representative that would come to your meetings.
I know that.
Provided that. But we'll give.
But I could have sworn that's exactly what I said.
We'll get it. What do you
Yeah,
want
let's see.
specifically?
You said the last 3 years of bank statements.
Let's just, instead of 3 years, let's go to the last 2 year bank statement. Let's make it a little easier.
Okay.
Start to finish.
Right.
You know, that's all I want.
Ending balances of the
Yes,
last
beginning
3
and
years?
ending balances from bank statements.
Okay.
They can print that out for you.
balance is the same as beginning balance.
I realize that, but I just want to see a sheet.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry if that
Tell me the
ruffled
exact
some
year.
feathers, but
Just the last 3 years, you said?
I said 3, but let's just go 2.
So,
You know, I'm willing to work, you know what I mean? I just want to see the information.
24 and
I'm
25.
just confused why you're asking for it now when you've been on the council for 9 years.
Because I've never seen that.
Why haven't you seen it though? Why
That,
didn't you
I
ask
don't
for
know why I've never seen it.
Why
Why
didn't
didn't
you
you bring
ask
it
for
to you?
them?
That's our.
I don't know. But that's
Why didn't you
previous.
ask for it before now? I just what he's trying to say.
Well, I asked for it a month ago.
No, 2 years ago. I just asked for it 2 years ago. If you wanted 2 years ago.
Well, have any of these 3 new members seen it? Yes or no?
No, but we're asking why
Asking
you.
you, you've been on.
Because they didn't think to ask it. So I'm gonna be the bad guy. I know I'm the bad guy in this whole situation. And that's fine. I'm just trying to ask for the information. I'm not trying to be mean or rude about it. If I haven't seen it, I haven't seen it. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know how. I've never seen it.
Well, you've been on for 9 years.
I know,
Why
but-
you're thinking of now. I used to see that 2 years ago.
We'll get you the information.
Yeah.
That's what it'll do.
Just didn't
You
want how
know,
guys
at this
changed
point,
that you-
at this point, I really don't care.
I can get it, I can get it.
No, I mean,
back
at this
now,
point,
it's all of you.
I'm the bad guy. I just don't care. Sorry. If you guys don't, that's fine.
We have nothing to hide. We'll give you the information. We're just confused
And
why
you
all
don't
of a
need to
sudden
be a
it's
bad
being
guy,
asked
you can
for.
say it nicely. you
And I'm
know.
being nicely. I'm
No,
not
I
being
mean, you
rude.
keep starting out saying, I'm gonna be the bad guy. That.
Well, because everybody thinks I'm the bad guy
No,
for
you're not
asking.
saying that. I'm just saying, I'm just ask nicely.
So we get the budget or, their bank statements. We figure out the nonprofit situation. Has that been figured out, the nonprofit?
I sent you guys the EIN number.
Yeah, there was something.
Yeah, that was
Still showing that it's It's still showing it's not active.
Okay, so
Yeah, you need to renew.
Here's
That's
my
all.
thing, here's
It's
my thing.
$18.
I am in agreement that we need a community council regardless, okay? However we decide to go about that, we need one, right? If it's not these volunteers doing it, with, out of their own kindness, it's gonna be somebody, or it's gonna be us, Okay.
agree.
So I look at this as, you know, I don't want to, my intent is not to try to point and pick what the community council is doing wrong, and for that, they shouldn't exist, or whatever you want to say. To me, it's, okay, if they need help with the bank statements, how can we help them, or how can we have that communication to get a better idea how to get those on top of with the nonprofit, right? To me, it's how do we help the community council? If there's an issue there, how can we help you guys get that? Okay, that's where I'm going, because the past, I want to say at least personally, 8 years, it's been this friction between both of the councils, and I'm done with it. I'm done with it. And I believe everyone else is done with it too. Okay? We got to come together as one. Seriously. Well, seriously, we really got to come together as one. Okay? So I think really how we can go forward, I want to assume that we're just going to help figure all that out. You know, to cover the city and to cover both councils and make sure they're both in the right spots, we need to see that information. I agree with that. We need to make sure that, you know, the organization that's doing good in the community isn't a liability. I asked the attorney, Nathan, to also speak on some things, but I want to come up with some solutions, okay? Rather than pointing fingers, I really want to come up with solutions. And I really think that there's, you know, really, I think there's only 2 solutions. The third one's more of a scenario, okay? And I want to bring these up because I just want us to get on the same page and just move forward, however that may be, okay? So I'll have Nathan talk about that a little bit, and then we can go forward and really, I want this to be the last. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's going to be the last meeting, but I really want this to be near the last meeting that we talk about this, and then we just go forward and we embrace what we have with the community council.
Thanks. So, again, my name is Nathan Bracken. I'm a city attorney. This is purely a policy call on behalf of the council of how they spend the money. But what the council asked me to look into are what are the legal options that the council has right now. And to provide maybe a little bit of context for where Patrick's coming from, this has been something that the financial staff have been thinking about pretty seriously over the last year. And I've tried to get the mayor and the other council members up to speed on the discussions that we're having. But the long and short of it is each year, the financial requirements that the city has to comply with, and that any nonprofits that are getting money from the city comply with, it increases exponentially. It just does. And so when Kearns was incorporated, this was before my time, there was a section of the Kearns Code, Chapter 256, that was adopted to govern how the council would interact with the community council and how budget requests would work. And there's requirements of when the budget needs to be presented and when there's a detailed financial report that the community council is supposed to provide. And as we've been going through this code restatement, when we got to this section last year, the staff and the prior mayor sat down and said, hey, we're not doing a lot of this stuff. And if we ever get audited by the state auditor, we're probably in trouble because the state law has changed from when Kearns was incorporated in 2017 as a metro township, and from the arrangement that we've been using to budget this money to the community council. And what we're doing now likely isn't going to pass muster under state law. So one of the things the prior council was discussing is, okay, going forward, if we give more money to the community council, one, we're going to have to update this chapter that we have to be in accordance with state law. And on top of it, we're probably going to have to require an agreement with the community council that's going to make them do the things that the state's going to ask us. If they say, hey, you gave money to this entity, how did they spend it? Where did it go? And that's what Patrick's getting at. The other thing that's happened really recently is in the fall, the city of Mill Creek, which also has a community council, a similar history that Kearns has, a former unincorporated community that was incorporated same time Kearns was, they have community councils too. And they have similar things in their code too that require or allow the community council to provide recommendations to the council on municipal services, on planning and zoning things. And they also have a budget process that's very similar, if not identical to ours. And so they had a question as to whether or not the work that the community council was doing was something that required compliance with the Open and Public Meetings Act, meaning that every time the community council met, did they have to have an open and public meeting similar to what we're doing now, with someone recording the meetings, someone posting the recordings and holding minutes. And the Property Rights Ombudsman's Office issued a formal decision this fall saying, yes, Mill Creek's community councils do. And so the questions that I want to provide that framework, because however, there's ways to do this. I'm going to provide what I see are your 3 legal options, and this is the council's call. But however we're doing it now needs to change to comply with all these changes in the law. So option 1 is if the community council stays a community council and Kearns appropriates money to the community council, we're going to have an agreement. Daniel's here. We're going to have to do the accounting completely differently than the way we have before. It's going to have to be a lot more detailed on both sides. It's going to be a lot more cost for both the community council and for Kearns to keep just giving money. There's going to need to be an agreement. There's going to need to be accountability protocols. Dan, you can go through what those are on our end. I can't advise the community council. I don't know how nonprofits work, but I know the nonprofit code has changed. And one of those things is we can't give money to an entity that isn't legally registered with the state. And I know Lauren's looked into that, and that's one of the things Lauren's been trying to make sure of, is that if we do appropriate money to the community council, that the community council has done everything it's supposed to do to maintain itself as a legal entity. Because that's one of the things, if we ever get audited, the state auditor is going to say, wait, you gave $80,000 to an entity that isn't a valid entity.
Yep.
That's a big problem for us. It creates a lot of liability for the city. So the long and short of it is, this type of arrangement in which we give money to a separate legal entity can happen. It's just going to happen very differently than we've done before. And it's going to have a lot of accounting and legal strings attached that we have. But that said, it can be done, and it is being done in other places. Not many. There aren't a whole lot of community councils left in communities that are incorporated, but they do happen. Mill Creek still has its. I think Salt Lake City has some. So it's a model that works. We're just going to have to do it a little bit more differently, and we're going to have to dot our I's and cross our T's more thoroughly than we have in the past. And we are, as a matter of law, going to have to require more frequent and regular financial reports than we have in the past. Now, before I go through these options, Dan, did I miss anything on an accounting side?
No, you're good.
So part of the limitation that Dan and I have is we are government folks. We're not nonprofits, and so there's some nonprofit. One of the things that we had discussed before is, how to get the community council the legal advice it needs to kind of make sure it stays on top of all this stuff. You guys have me, but I can't represent them. So you likely have to appropriate some money to the community council as part of their budget request to make sure that they have an attorney or an accountant or somebody keeping them. And I think they probably already have an accountant, but they probably need an attorney too, just like you have me. So option 1 would be appropriate money to the community council. The pros of that would be retain their institutional knowledge, or retain their connections. They're already an organization, and as the mayor mentioned, if they didn't exist, it's something the city would have to do. But we are going to have to go through and update 256. I've already provided some updates to the prior council as part of the restatement. I think depending on what the council wants to do, we may need to tweak that some more, but we're going to have to do an agreement. We're going to have to make sure that the community council is a valid entity, that it maintains its valid entity status throughout the course of whatever contract we have with them to get money each year. And we're going to have some more increased financial oversight responsibilities just to maintain ourselves current with state law. One of the things we're going to have to do both in our section of the code and in whatever contract we have with the community council is making sure that they do hold their meetings in accordance with the Open and Public Meetings Act. And that's going to be an extra cost too for them to staff that, make sure it happens. And it's probably going to be some administrative staff time on our end to make sure that they do it correctly. Dan?
There may also be some financial statement reporting required to the state, like transparency.utah. So that's another thing we would need to look into.
That's true, Patrick. Let me just, before I forget, one thing I forgot, one big change that has happened since Kearns incorporated and since this current arrangement came to be is the legislature created a new class of entity called a governmental nonprofit. And that is an entity that gets pretty much all of its money from a public entity. Now, Mayor Bush asked me to look into this last year, and I think there's a gray area, to be honest, in my opinion, as to whether the community council qualifies as that. But that's what Dan's getting at, is if the community council does qualify as a governmental nonprofit, there's a whole host of new registration requirements that you have to do on the state. There's a state registration requirement. Your records are subject to GRAMA. You have to comply with the Open and Public Meetings Act. There's a whole slew of things. Now, admittedly, I think there's an argument the community council is not a governmental nonprofit, but it's not as clear as I'd like. So with that in mind, those are the things we would have to deal with to keep the current status. Option number 2 would be to take the community council, same people, and then designate them as an official committee of the city of Kearns.
Yep.
That way, we would essentially, instead of budgeting money to a separate entity that has all these other strings attached, it would basically be like designating, appropriating that money to a Kearns department, right? Basically your events department, your event planning, whatever you do. That is probably, if you look at most cities don't have community councils, they do have these types of events. So it would be more in line with how most cities operate. Now, the difference there is it would be a city community, it would be a city committee, depending on how it's structured. We have to redo our code, maybe come up with a charter, which of course you could do with everybody on the community council now. There would be synergy in the sense that it would be part of the city of Kearns. I would hope that that would alleviate some of the confusion.
It would.
But the community council would report to the city council. They wouldn't be separate entities. And I don't know how the community council would feel about technically being under the city council, but that would be something that would be more streamlined. Dan would be your accountant, I'd be your attorney, Diana would be the clerk. You wouldn't have to duplicate those resources on your own. The third option or scenario is the mayor phrased it, would be to not fund the community council at all. And the problem with that is, well, we'd have to recreate all of that ourselves. Who's going to do that? We'd lose all the institutional knowledge that they have. We'd still have to rewrite our code anyway. And then you'd still have another organization that's representing the citizens of Kearns. And I imagine if you were to do that, it would probably be even more contentious than it is now. And it's not going to solve that problem. So frankly, there's probably only really, in my opinion, 2 viable options. The first being we figure out a way to make this work, but under the current legal framework, which has a whole lot more strings and conditions that are going to require more administrative staff and resources on both sides to do, or you bring them in-house as a Kearns committee. But that being said, we can't force the community council to do anything. They're a separate entity. If they say, hey, we want to be on our own and we don't want to be a Kearns community, that's their purview. So those are what I see as your legal options. Again, this is a policy call for the council. I don't necessarily think there's a right or wrong answer. It's just those are the things you need to consider from a legal standpoint.
I would really like to hear what the community council has to say. Like I said, I don't want to just start, continue to point fingers. I really want us to look for a solution. And I think this is a good start. There's, provided 2 options in a sense. I'm not saying that that's something. I want to hear what you guys have to say, what you guys feel comfortable with, because I feel like option 3 or scenario 3, is that's not an option. To me, that's not an option. Now so I really want to hear from you guys.
So real quick, we're gonna get the statements that you guys want. We want all that to be transparent. We want everybody here to know that all the money that we get from you guys and from the county, from the taxpayers, is being used back to the community. So we want to do that. That's first. Secondly, in our meeting last week, I thought I sent, and I'm looking at my email, I sent a screenshot of the status of our nonprofit. And it clearly says that Paula Larson, her last renewal date was February 11, 2024, and it's in active status. I don't know what number, maybe the EIN is wrong, or maybe something's different, I don't know. But what I do know is that I sent this to show that we are in an active status as far as I can see. The other thing I'll add is, in order to pull this report, I did have to pay for it.
No, you didn't have to pay for it.
Let him talk.
To get this report pulled. It's not much, but I just wanted to pull it because I wanted to see it for myself. And so that's what I ended up sending. If you go to the IRS website, there's an EIN search option. You put in the number that we were given, it doesn't show anything. It says it's not found. So I don't know if the IRS website has a different number that we're not aware of. Maybe the EIN we have is wrong, but nothing came up. So if you're looking in there, then yeah, it's going to show as if nothing is showing for Kearns Community Council. That all being said, yeah, I want to resolve this, and I want to, continue. Whether I'm on the council or not, we want to keep this going because the benefit is for the community. None of us is getting paid for this. We don't want to get paid for it. We're doing it because we want to volunteer. So that's what I'll end with.
Lauren, don't say anything yet. I want
to add to that. The Kearns Community Council has been around for 60 years out in the community.
60?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
60 plus. It was late 50s, early 60s, where it was formed. Before my time, yes. And it was the backbone that structured this community, because we were this little podunk unincorporated area over here. And it became the backbone, the structure. We want that to continue. We want to work with you guys, as we have with everybody for the last, I can say, 20 years, because that's how long I've been, I guess, older than dirt.
No.
So we're not bucking you, we're not fighting you. But if we don't know what the problems are, we can't fix them. And yet nobody ever has come to us before now and said anything. We've turned in what we've always turned in, what we have been asked to turn in. If you guys don't have it, I apologize, I don't know why. We're happy to give you anything you want. And we're willing to work and talk and do what we need to do. But again, if we don't know, we can't fix it. And then you come to us and start chastising us. And we're going, we have no idea what you're talking about. This stuff that's come up with Nathan and everything, no one's ever told us this. We talked about a little bit of it last year and moved forward, because we want to move forward for the community, not for us, not for you guys, not for the IRS, but for this community, and that's what we're here to do. But all of this stuff we're seeing and going, we've never even heard it. So don't chastise us for something. Come to us, ask. You don't have to put it out in a big meeting or whatever, I don't care, but if we don't know, we can't fix it.
A lot of it we're learning alongside of you.
But then don't chastise us, because right now we're feeling like you don't want us. You would rather have the power and control over something else.
So,
And that's what we feel like, and that hurts us. Because this group that I serve with is amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm honored to serve with them, and I'm honored to give back to the community. I grew up here. And like I said, we're willing to move on, but you gotta ask, and you have to tell us.
I think one big thing that we're trying to change is that communication. And I feel like a lot of things, right. And so that's why I'm saying, look, the budget, we can figure out. The nonprofit part, we can figure out. I don't want to use that as a pointing fingers. I'm going to be honest, again, the past has shown a lot of resentment on both sides for a long time, and it's time for us to move forward. I would like for the council, the community council, to really look into, the options that we provided. I don't know. So this is what I propose. I propose that we move on to other discussions. Maybe you guys can talk amongst each other, and then we can come back to that discussion today.
May I make one more comment?
Sure.
Hold on just a second, Mayor.
And Nathan, this is to Nathan.
Just a second, let Nathan speak first.
No, I think Jesse just gave me the floor. We do run our meetings according to parliamentary rules. We have minutes taken, we have minutes approved, we have minutes posted. We are open to the public to come anytime they want. The Kearns Community Council's always operated that way, always.
And that's good to know, and that probably checks one of the boxes under the Kearns Code, because the Kearns Code requires them to be open in accordance with their bylaws, which it sounds like you're doing. But that's not the same as complying with the Open and Public Meetings Act.
No, I'm just saying that to put that on record, that we do comply.
But one of the things I forgot to mention is one of the, I think, the challenges that I've seen, and to be honest, the city has not involved me that much in community council issues to save costs. And so I just kind of get parachuted in and out. But one of the things I think that creates the difference of opinion is because the community council is a separate legal entity from Kearns, I can't share attorney-client communication with the community council without waiving it. And so when we're having all of these redevelopment discussions and other things that are very sensitive, where potentially we could use the community council to do outreach on a surgical basis, I can't right now share that information with you. And that's part of the reason why you're getting all this now, is a lot of this was stuff that we were working on prior, right up until the election. Election happened, said let's This isn't our call at this point. Let's let the new council get impaneled, and then let's figure this out. And so I don't think that there's anybody's really at fault, but the legal framework has changed since 2017 when Kearns was incorporated and enacted Chapter 256, which is the current framework that the city's operating under with the community council. We can't follow that anymore. We need to change it. It's coming up in a restatement discussion because we need to get your code restated. There's still plenty of references in there reference to county, which hasn't been the case for years. But the other side of it is there are things that the community council is probably going to have to do differently from an accounting standpoint as well. But I just want to say one of the benefits of one of the challenges I see of us being two separate entities is it's difficult to share sensitive information, including some of the stuff that I wasn't authorized to share until today because we didn't have a new council and didn't have a chance to get the new council updated until like last week. And then other things where if we were all part of the same organization, that communication might be a little easier.
It would.
And look, just to make it clear, I'm really advocating to unify us together as a community. And so, again, the past is the past. I want to put that aside and close that door forever, honestly. But I would like, if you guys are willing to take some time and just kind of talk over, that information. I want to hear from what you guys have to
Could you
say.
send that to us in writing so we make sure there's no miscommunication?
Yeah, I can see if we can email it.
Let me do this. Let me send you a script email. You can send it to me.
All right. Nathan's working on that. He'll email it to me and then I'll email it out to you guys, okay? And so just got to bear with us a little bit. So we're going to circle back. We're going to go ahead and talk about, so we're going to go to C, appointing a replacement moderator for the city's Facebook page. We use MSD for all of our services, and Mary Dean has been doing it. And I know we had Jake was prior. Yeah, which he was contracted in, and he's no longer here. And Mary, this isn't another additional cost. It's already being paid for through our service. So really, we're just appointing her to help moderate.
Okay. Oh, so, okay.
That's all. And to replace Jake.
Yeah, I didn't see her name in there, that's why I was just asking.
Yes, so she would be essentially just replacing Jake, but
Okay, so
it's
we
not a
just need
contract.
We just need a motion. We don't need, do we need to vote on that?
Yeah, you need a motion and a vote.
So by way of background, under your social media policy, the council has to designate your moderator for your Facebook page, your social media pages, and for your website.
So we do need a vote.
Jake, that's who you had designated before when you adopted that policy. Jake has since left.
Yeah.
So now you need to designate someone else. The recommendation is Mary Dean Alexander with the MSD. She's their PR person.
And the benefit of this is we're actually saving
Yes.
the city money because now we're not contracting and we can use that for something else. So.
Agreed, me too.
You gonna make a motion? Or you
I make a motion that we appoint Mary Dean as the moderator for the city's Facebook page and webpage and any other social media that we need.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right.
I would like to be involved with the website.
Yes. And so, yes, that's going to be discussion for the retreat or the strategic retreat we have.
No, okay.
Yes. Yes. I had you in mind, Lauren.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, and then we can move on. Appointing an emergency manager for the city of Kearns.
So if it helps, this is something, the previous Mayor Kelly Bush was the emergency manager. You guys just need to reappoint someone to be that kind of that point person, that contact person. Just kind of, it helps when, if an emergency happens, and Madison may be able to touch on a little bit bigger, like how that involves it on the next one, but we need you to appoint someone who can be that point person. So if there's ever an emergency, you're kind of that one that communicates. Maybe she can explain it a little bit better how it coordinates, but. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Madison Warner. I'm the assigned emergency planner for Kearns as part of the MSD. So each jurisdiction will need to designate an emergency manager, and that can be, most often it's someone from the council, but it can be a city manager or whomever you guys designate. This person is responsible for the overall kind of emergency management and preparedness and planning for the city. So it does include some, like taking some leadership during emergencies and helping guide the rest of the council through policy decision-making. So that is kind of the very simple context of the emergency manager. So yeah, it's a very important role. And if you have any other questions about it, I'd be happy to answer them.
I don't have any questions. I guess the question would be, are you still willing to stay on as the role?
So I cannot be the emergency manager. I will remain your emergency planner and help train the emergency manager and assist with the city. So I will still be around, but it does have to be a person separate from me, as I do have duties with other cities.
Okay.
So.
Question?
Is that your contract?
So I would suggest either myself or Chrystal. Chrystal is currently on UFA. And so if you would like to take that role, I would be okay with that as well.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we have Chrystal Butterfield be the emergency manager for the city of Kearns.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chrystal. Right. E, resolution amending Kearns Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Yeah, that's right.
Hello.
Careful, don't get blind.
I'm awake. All right, thanks again. My name is Madison Warner. I'm the emergency planner assigned to Kearns from the MSD. And just really briefly, Council, I want to just give you an update on where we're at with emergency planning in the jurisdiction. Since some of you are new, I know there's a couple familiar faces, but just to give you a very quick rundown, and then I will talk about the hazard mitigation, which will also be very brief. So just a little bit about myself and kind of the planning division as it is within MSD. So myself and my coworker, Brian Buckhout, are the two main emergency planners for the MSD. So you might see him around as well. We support each other. If there was an incident in the city, you might see myself, you might see him coming to support at the local level. The other one of us would be at the MSD level and or the county level, kind of supporting there. I've been in this role since 2024. I have a background as a firefighter, EMT, and worked, did search and rescue with FEMA. So that's just a little about me. It's enough of my giant face on the wall there. So to give you just a little rundown of how the emergency emergency response will work at the jurisdictional level. So we have this lovely chart up here where it shows the jurisdiction here. Now, if you had an emergency in your city and you needed something, let's say there was debris in the road and you needed some dump trucks or something to come clear it out. So you guys would make the request to MSD and they would fulfill it as best they could. If they could not for some reason, if it was a bigger emergency or something that required more personnel, volunteers, response equipment, things like that, then it would go up to the county, and then from the county to the state to FEMA, kind of up the chain as we call it. So your guys' responsibility as a policy group during an emergency, aside from Chrystal, you'll have some additional ones now, congratulations, is to make policy level decisions and city level decisions. So those would be things like authorizing the use of Kearns' own property to set up a shelter, or making kind of decisions on using public funds or things like that in an emergency. So aside from Chrystal, it's kind of your guys' role to sit back, help with the communications to the public, and assist Chrystal with making requests and tracking those as they come up and down. And in that vein, I'm happy to come do any sort of training. I would love to come out and do kind of workshop training with you guys to talk more in depth. This is like a speed run of how this will all work. Some things that we did in the last 2 years is Kearns adopted the Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan. This addresses what we call the pillars of emergency management, everything from preparedness, mitigation response, and our favorite thing, recovery. We still have some jurisdictions that are recovering from things as far back as the earthquake and COVID. So that's definitely a big one. This plan was not jurisdictionally specific to Kearns, but it encompassed the whole county, and we share a lot of hazards and resources. As we know, hazards don't stop at the boundary of the city and be like, that's West Jordan, I'm not going to keep going that way, I'll just stay in Kearns. So that was adopted in 2025, and it won't be due for adoption for another couple of years. Now this plan, the Hazard Mitigation Plan, this one's a little bigger. I don't see the giant packets on your desk. I'm glad we didn't print that again. That was about a 700-page plan. So this plan covers obviously the hazards. We went into very specific things that your jurisdiction faces, the capabilities you have, and how we might be able to mitigate them. The good thing about these plans is it's often in the name what they do. So the current status of this is back in September, I came to the council, the previous council, I suppose, and we adopted it. However, it was still under review at FEMA level, and there were a handful of changes. So I'm here to propose readoption, and I'll cover what those changes were very briefly in just a second. Another thing we've been working on is evacuation zones. So these help communicate to the public if there's a need for an evacuation in an emergency. These line up with public roadways and consider things like the railroad tracks and those sorts of things. So we did finalize those with the last council and mayor. We can readdress them as you guys like, but we will be working on kind of community and public outreach and education around these zones as well. And we are working now on evacuation and sheltering in the county. So this is just the map that was kind of approved. We can always break down zones differently if needed. Don't have to evacuate an entire zone if not necessary, of course, but need to have those plans there. We've been working on emergency communications. We are looking at the MSD level, purchasing a couple of these Starlink units. These provide internet and cellular cradle to your kind of command center at the city level in an emergency if we have what's called a grid down scenario. Fortunately for the residents, it would just kind of be for their building. But MSD is looking at getting some of these that could deploy out so you guys could use them. The county emergency management recently just purchased 3 of them, so it helped tie everybody in together. And then we always have the need for ham radio operators and communications. So we'd love to set up a time for them to come out and chat with you guys and do an operational drill. We have the Great Shakeout coming out in April, and that's an opportunity to have them at your city council communicate to the MSD, to the county. It's a really fun exercise. And if any of you in the audience are ham radio operators and want to get involved, please don't hesitate to reach out. There's always a need.
Nice.
And then some other little projects. We will need to get WEPs and GETS cards for all of you. I assume now with you having new cell phones, we'll get those numbers. Basically, these cards prioritize your cell number in emergency and for repair. If the phone lines are down, it identifies yours as an essential lifeline and gets those repaired, so I can assist with that. And then we'll need you to get council ID cards through the MSD if you haven't already. That's just done through Mayor Dean, just kind of like this, so that if you have to come to a command center, we're able to kind of have that security. Yes.
I know I still have one. I think you have one too. Are they still valid,
still.
or do we need one like every year? Or
Your
so?
ID cards?
Yeah.
As long as they don't have like a restrictive date on it, it should still be
I'll
valid.
have to check that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I do need a new one. Cause
If you need a new one, then I probably do too.
It wouldn't hurt.
I think the last time I got one was probably about 5 years ago.
I was gonna say, and I've got the Get card. I think you probably have one still, right?
Yeah, I
Get
still have one of those too.
So I think we're okay, but I know the new council members.
Those are pretty easy to enroll, so we can get that going. And then again, if you guys have any specific trainings, tabletop exercises, discussional based, we would love to come out and do a workshop, just talk through those with you guys. I know you have a lot on your plate right now, so just let me know. Additionally, if you have any community events coming up this summer and spring, if you would like an event action plan, which is like an emergency response plan for an event, please include me as soon as possible. Like the earliest meeting that you guys have for any parades or community fairs or festivals, please let me know if you would like one of these event action plans. If there is something that happens at an event, this is one of the first things that lawyers are going to look for. So I do recommend it, but we need to get them with enough time to prepare them. So just let me know. And then a couple little jurisdictionally specific things that we've done in Kearns. We worked really hard on the railroad cleanup, getting the brush pulled back from housing and things like that. I know that was kind of a legal issue. So that will be ongoing, and we'll keep working on that to keep that fire hazard down. And then we have been working with Unified Fire to set up a training plan in preparation for the Olympics right across the hallway there with the Olympic Oval. And that will be ongoing all the way up until the Olympics. So I'd love to give you guys an update on kind of what that looks like going forward and include you as we get it to grow bigger and bigger. Any questions for me on any of this? I will touch a little bit more on the hazard mitigation plan in just a second, but any general questions or concerns, requests as far as emergency planning? Okay, let me switch. Okay, so the hazard mitigation plan, just as an overview, is a countywide plan that assesses vulnerabilities so that we can reduce risk. It has two parts. It has volume 1, which covers the entire county. Then it has volume 2, which is specific to Kearns and the hazards that you have specifically in your jurisdiction. It's very, very detailed. Like I said, this plan is 600-700 pages, so it's quite a reader. I do recommend, obviously, that the council go very in depth and read it, especially the jurisdictional annex for Kearns. So we kind of covered this before. If you have additional questions about the plan itself, I'd be happy to answer. But why I'm here addressing it again this evening is we did have Kearns adopt the original plan in September. However, at that time, it had not been approved by FEMA. It was still undergoing review. And unfortunately, we did not include flexible language in the adoption that allowed for changes to the plan. So we just adopted it as it was, but there were some changes. So now I'm back to have you guys, I'm proposing readoption for it now that it is finalized with these changes that are listed here. These were the only things that changed in that 600-page plan for Kearns. So a couple of things about earthquake, a couple of things about floodplain. So I'd be happy to go. Other than that, I'm just proposing that it is readopted by council with the changes that FEMA has proposed.
Okay. What? Yes, I remember. When we adopted it, so. Okay. So which sections are we needing to readopt, I guess?
So you're actually readopting the entire plan.
Okay, so we are readopting this.
Because there was changes to both the base plan and Kearns specific annex.
Okay.
So it's just easier to readopt the entire plan.
All right. Okay, that makes sense. I make a motion, we readopt our FEMA emergency management plan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Picture of your beautiful face. There was a beautiful background. Where was that?
I knew it.
All right. Resolution approving a personal policy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, sir.
So as Chrystal and Patrick probably remember, back in 2019, the city council was considering hiring an administrative assistant. Whenever you have an employee, you have to have a personnel policy. We had prepared a policy, and then it just kind of got tabled because the city never actually hired an employee. And as I was talking to the mayor about our code restatement, and that's something we talked about at our past training, one of the things we're working on as part of that code restatement is updating our policies. And so one of the things that I think will probably come up in your visioning workshop is what, if any, staff do you want to hire? And so the discussion I had with the mayor was, okay, well, we might as well get a personnel policy adopted now. We don't have to hire somebody, but at least if we do, we have one in place. But the other benefit of having a personnel policy is technically you guys are also employees of the city council. And there are some things that we probably want to have on the books to protect you. And so I took the policy I drafted in 2019. I had one of our HR attorneys, Clayton Priest, who does code enforcement with you guys, look at it to see if there are any changes in the law, and there were quite a few. And he came back and he said, hey, Nathan, while we're updating this, there's a couple trainings that I'd like to give at some point, possibly at the visioning workshop. And one of those is a sexual harassment training. One of the things that he said is, in his work as an HR attorney, one of the things that they're recommending is that we do an annual sexual harassment training each year. And that helps protect the city council, one, because if something happens, we can say, hey, well, we have a policy and we gave a training and we probably have everyone sign a statement. That's not something that we've done in the past, but that is something that Clayton has recommended that our firm do with all the cities that we're representing. So I'm taking this policy to Magna tomorrow. We're going to adopt it in Copperton. So this isn't unique to Kearns, but that's the point. And so what you have here is a template policy that our firm has adopted and updated over the years. My suggestion would be, the idea here is to get something on the books. So if you decide, hey, we need an administrative assistant or we want to hire staff, you have it. We have something on the books so that if something happens, we have a policy that we can point to as potential protection under our insurance or otherwise. But then once you get if you do hire somebody, assuming you do, then we can go and change this as needed, just like any other policy. So that's a quick report. It's intended to be a pretty much straight up the middle basic policy. And I know this is a little last minute. All of this kind of happened kind of a little late last week when the mayor and I were coordinating in advance of this meeting and talking about the strategic planning. And this came up and he asked me to update it, and I did. And I said, well, let me have my HR attorney look at it. And Clayton came to us kind of on Thursday and he was like, hey, you need to probably get a training. And so I was like, well, let's get the policy adopted and then we can do the training. So that's why this is, frankly, I wish I would have had more of a discussion with Clayton because I could have just had him come to the training we did 2 weeks ago. But if you're going to have a strategic planning retreat, that's typically where this type of training would happen anyway.
Motion? He has not any questions.
I don't.
You want a motion?
The resolution.
Yeah.
I make a motion we approve resolution R 2026-07, approving a personnel policy. Excuse me.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So Nathan's still working on sending that email. Well, I'll send the email over for the
I
community
can send
council.
it to Paul and I'll just copy it.
Okay, so we can just a little patience, I guess, is all I'm asking.
Stakeholders.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and go into stakeholders. But we don't have it on the.
I know, all we gotta do, we just got to minutes that we want to have our stakeholders to represent. You know what I mean? Their side. We only have UFA,
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe just get UPD. Okay. You guys, well,
We thought it was taken off the agenda.
well,
No,
it was.
Can we move back to this community council, because we'll be real quick.
Okay.
Before.
Because we're waiting for that email in writing.
Okay.
We've already got a preliminary where we want to be. So we've already all discussed it, we're all in agreement, pretty much, we still want to discuss. We have our meeting on Tuesday, we'll get it in writing, we'll get you the other information that was already promised today, and then we can make a decision and get, be at your next meeting. That way we can look at it, so, because we can't, we're not gonna be able to read it tonight and figure it out tonight. So
Right.
we definitely want it in writing, so there's no mistakes, there's no misunderstandings, or I thought A was this and B was this, or,
Right.
we don't want any of that. And then the last thing I would say is, if the approach would have been, hey, we've got half our council is new, the laws have changed, there's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes because we became a city and other things that happened to the state with the legislature, things that have passed, how we interact with you has to be changed. And we want to really work with you guys to make those changes so that you guys can continue on with your work. If that approach would have been, I don't think 1/10 of some of the stuff I've seen happen would have happened. But we were not approached that way. We were approached confrontational that you guys have been doing stuff wrong. Nobody on this council at any time had malice or wrong in our hearts. That's not what we do. So if we would have been approached in a different manner, as Janet was talking about her little thing, if approached in a different manner, then maybe things would have been way different in our communication interactions.
I just sent it. I sent it to Paula. Paula, you're the only one I have an email address for.
Okay, thank you.
So you guys would like to review that at a later date, is what you're asking?
It'll be sooner than today.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that we understand completely, so there's no further miscommunication, because I think that's what this is all about.
And that was the whole idea with when we had the visionary workshop. I didn't want to get into logistics. I wanted to figure out what that going forward would look like. And so what I'm asking is what, you guys would be comfortable with, and then we come back to the council and we have that discussion as well. So, because I want you guys to look at it as us not telling you what you should be doing. I want you to feel comfortable on what that is. But on the other side, the city really has to be, we have to have that security on all ends and work together in a sense. So, and I really hope that, looks like we'll figure that out. We'll move forward for today, right? Is that what you guys are saying? We'll move forward for today. And then do we have to set another meeting or discussion on this?
It just depends on when so just to be clear, I had sent some attorney-client communications to the council, providing my legal advice on what I saw the legal options were. This is based on, now to be clear, I'm not a nonprofit attorney. I just know that there have been some nonprofit changes, but in working with the MSD's accountants, and this came up last year when we had we were looking at all the nonprofits we were funding. I know that there are quite a few accounting practices, Dan, that we're not following on the city side that we're going to need the community council's help to do. And frankly, it's probably going to require the community council to hire an accountant and hire an attorney. And so what I sent Paula is a scrub version of that email where I took out all the attorney-client communication stuff. And so it's something that's probably more for public distribution, but it's just basically the pros and cons as I see it from a legal standpoint and what some of the practical considerations are. But it's not my job to tell anybody what to do. So when the mayor asked me to send that email initially, it was just objectively lay out the pros and cons. So I don't have an opinion in this. It's not my call anyway. It's the city council's decision, and of course, it's community council's decision on how you want to proceed.
Like, and right, and I like to look at it as like, let's just find a solution rather than continue to go back and forth like we have been. And so that's my thing, and I want you guys to be comfortable and look at that, and we'll go from there.
And then we would like to know what you guys would like as well.
Right, but I want to know what you guys feel comfortable with first.
I want to know what you guys want first.
Okay, so we can talk about that. So this is me personally.
I do think it would be more appropriate for you guys to express your current opinion to give them some direction.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it is your decision as the appropriators to determine how to spend this money. Whether it's with the community council that's currently constituted, whether you bring them in-house, whether you set something else up. So I do think the standard operating procedure will be for the council to say, here's our initial thinking on this based on the discussions today. We're going to give you, I guess, until the next month or whenever you want to meet next, come back with other information, change our mind or whatever.
So just to understand my thought process, I didn't want you guys to think that I was telling you guys this is the ultimatum. And that's why I really wanted to hear what you guys had to say. Now, I look at there's only two options on the board, on the table. The third one is not an option. It's more of a scenario, which, the city has no control over. That would be, something the community council, if they wanted to go that route. I would be open to both option 1 and 2. Now, option 1 is, going to be complex, but I feel like if we can get on the same page and figure out everything that needs to be figured out, again, the budget part, we can figure it out together. Getting the right paperwork in for the nonprofit, we can figure out together. I am not looking at it as a, oh, we can't do it now because of this. No, I want to work with you guys to get that, okay? That's the way we can go. Now, a safer route would be option 2. Send everybody into one umbrella. We become unified as one, and it stops being this they, them thing.
Right.
But I'm not necessarily saying that's the right, again, that's why I want to have your guys' opinion on this. And we can really recreate this going forward together in a sense. And it can stay the same council. It doesn't need to be anything different. It can stay the same and we can get on the same page and we can move forward. Ultimately, that's what I want to do and I hope the rest of this council wants to do. And I know, I'm hoping that's what the community council wants to do. But that's just my matter of opinion. The option 3, which is a scenario, I feel like that would just create more conflict. That's something that I have no control over. That would be something that if you guys wanted to go that route, I don't think that's an option. And so, like I said, there is a place for the community council and I am advocating that. I want to work for that. So that's my opinion on that. So.
How do the rest of the members feel?
Anybody want to speak?
I would recommend that you have each council member give their 2 cents to give the community council some idea of where you're thinking.
I'm good with either one, but cost to the community, I think option 2 would be a better bet.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to hire an attorney. You wouldn't have to hire somebody to take care of your books. It's something that we could probably do because we're already doing it,
Yeah, I agree with Chrystal. I believe that the second option where Kearns City and Kearns community is of one. That is the way I see this happening. And I believe that there are more benefits to doing it that way because you have the attorney, and you have the other organizations that we're a part of, and not having to fool with paying $18 to renew every, I don't know how many years it is, so that you don't run the risk of losing your nonprofit status. So I see this as a win-win for both of us if we merge and become one entity, which means the Kearns Community Council will be a department in the city of Kearns. And there is a benefit to doing that, as it's been pointed out by our solicitor over here.
Come on, Patrick, be brave. You will.
So just what I
Your
think would
personal
work.
thoughts on it.
My personal
Well, whatever you think. No,
My personal thoughts on this, I would love to continue to go forward with option 2. I think that would be the most inclusive way to get us all in the same area where we want to be. And like my other council members had pointed out, I think that would be the best. However, I'm not sure what you guys think what would be best. And that's where I'm worried.
Yeah.
So I agree with option 2. Maybe I didn't come out right, but every time I said, I was looking at the legal side of it. So every time I said, if you guys stay the same, and I've done nothing but praise you guys. I love you guys. You know I love you, Paula. But every time I brought up to get rid of just the word council, it was just instant snap at me. So that's where the confusion comes too. So we're both at fault, and I'll admit that. But I was doing it for the better good, okay? And that's all I have to say. But option 2 would be the best. But the problem is you'd have to lose that council off your name.
Yeah.
And you guys are not willing to do that.
Well, can I make a comment on that?
Excuse me.
The city has a ton of discretion in terms of what we call it. Legally, it would be a separate nonprofit. It would be a committee of the city. I think we could call it the community council and have it still be a committee. It just wouldn't be a separate legal entity. It would be a part of Kearns, and therefore I could advise it, my firm could advise it, we could do the public, and it would be part of the budgeting. Dan could be your accountant. That's so I think we could still keep the name. It just wouldn't be a separate legal entity. And we can determine, we can work with them, whatever they call it, whatever.
We can work on that after. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question. You're all kind of seeming to be number 2. What does that structure look like? I mean, it's easy to say, hey, you just join with us. Okay, who am I reporting to someone now? Am I not reporting to someone now?
So the way Utah law works is these cities can create committees to advise them and do basically what the community council is doing. What's unique about this situation is that you guys, as I think Paula mentioned, predate the city by many, many decades, right? And it was created, community councils are most commonly found right now, at least in the Salt Lake Valley, for the unincorporated areas, but Kearns is no longer incorporated. So if you look at most cities, Paul, I think in my email, I included a link to North Salt Lake. North Salt Lake, for instance, has committees that do exactly what the community council does, except they're committees that are created under state law pursuant to the state process, and they're essentially a committee that reports to the council. So, but the idea, I think, is if you were to do it, you would need to come up with your own rules and bylaws. We'd need to come up with a new chapter in our code, which the council could work with you to develop. It's just you would be a community council of the city rather than a separate legal entity.
Yeah.
So it could essentially do the same thing that you're doing now. It could have the same people you're doing now, but it would be part of Kearns as opposed to a separate thing.
Option I have is if they did become just an extra department of, if they became an extra department of this, the department of the city, would that provide a means for the city council to delegate some of their responsibilities to those people?
Yeah, that's what we're talking
kind of take
about.
some of the, I'm kind of feeling pretty, these guys have got a lot on their plates, and would that provide an opportunity for us to spread that out amongst the community and get more people involved? To the question.
That is exactly what a city committee does. So for instance, the reason why I'm mentioning North Salt Lake is my deputy attorney here, Lisa Watts Baskin, just completed 10 years on the North Salt Lake City Council. And so they have all sorts of committees that are set up for trails, for arts, for events, for youth council. Now they've set up different committees to do each of those, where Kearns has had the community council doing all of it. And so you could set up multiple committees, you could keep the community council the same. But that's exactly what the purpose of these city committees are. And I think that's what the community council's been doing. And as the mayor has said, is if the community council didn't exist, we'd have to recreate it in some way. And so.
And it would be that, it would be a part of the city.
Yeah.
It would be a department of the city and all.
So one of the things we've discussed is we're doing a big community redevelopment work. It's been something this council, prior council have spent hundreds and hundreds of hours on for years and years and years. But because so much of it is sensitive, we can't share any of that with the community council because it wouldn't be subject to attorney-client privilege or it otherwise wouldn't be protected. But one of the things we could do is when we get to a point where we're going to purchase stuff, we could say, hey, community council, go out, do some field work, tell us what the community thinks so we do this in the right way instead of us having to do that. But right now, we can't do that because you're not part of Kearns.
So does that mean that we'll start getting paid now, once we become part of them?
That's up to the council. Most committees are volunteer though.
Right. This is how I look at it. I really look at the community council and in this restructuring. It doesn't necessarily need to be with the community council. Maybe we restructure another or create another community to do this. But I look at it as I want to form these outreach groups, right? And I want those outreach groups to really bridge the gap between residents and leadership. Instead of it being such a huge leap in between, I want that gap to be bridged. Now, I look at it as this is what I personally envision, is that we could have something like the community council be that bridge, be that gap, where we are unified as one. Because we are, we're here in Kearns, at the end of the day, we just want what's best for Kearns, right?
We all want the same thing.
Right, it's the way how we get there. And so that's what I'm trying to get at is I am trying to look at it all working together as one. Because at the end of the day, I don't care who gets the credit. It's just getting the job done. And so that's why that's my thing. And I propose that, and I've talked with the community council and on what I would like to see. And if that's not really an option, I understand that. We're still gonna have to figure that out on the council level, how we create that outreach to bridge the gap between the residents and the mayor or the city leadership. And so my idea is to bring you guys and be a part of this and help structure and build that together with us. I understand that there's been this resentment and friction over the years, well beyond even myself, I feel. But like I said, I just want to go past that and I want to move on. I'm in the best interest for what the community of Kearns would like to see. And that's why I feel it's really important that, we get a better understanding of what you guys would like to see. Because if that understanding is different, then maybe we go about in a different direction. But like I'm saying, if the community council's not here, or if you guys aren't doing it, then who is, right? And so I'm not saying that we don't need you. I advocate that we need the community council. And so if we could find a way to just put the differences aside and figure this out, that'd be great. But I want both sides to be super confident about that. And right now, it seems like even with those options, it doesn't sound like there's any play. I don't know. It just, from what I can feel in the atmosphere, it doesn't seem like there's much play with that. But I really want to know what could that look like, even if it's not what the council wants. Now, I mentioned two options. I mentioned two options because I believe that we can make it work with both of those options. Now, option one might be a little more difficult to structure, and it may not, at the end of the day, it may not succeed. You might have to restructure regardless. But I'm willing to do that. But I want us to come together, come to the table and figure that out and just go past all of this. Because I know why you guys do it. You guys do it for Kearns. And that's why I'm here right now. I want to do things for Kearns. So help us, or at least help, whoever you feel comfortable talking to, help us figure that out together. That's what I really want to do. And I don't, because I don't want to see this go away. And if those aren't options on the table and you guys have options that you want to provide, I'm willing to hear those too, but we're delaying it. And I just want us to move forward. But if we're not there yet, then that's okay too, but just understand we are delaying that process.
Is there any other questions?
Just
I think there's some apprehension though, like you guys are visioning, instead of doing what we're currently doing for the bands and the community, that we become, we.
Politicians, bitches.
Wow. Oh, wow.
No.
Whoa. Wow, that was kind of out of line, I'll be honest. That was kind of.
Say, we need you to go do this in the community, or we need you to go. That's not what this has been about. We're volunteers.
I thought I was under the impression that, the community council is the boots on the grounds. They are the outreach of the community. I'm not asking for more work. I'm just asking that we can communicate and really partner up in it. For instance, I was on the community council, and I will tell you that my interaction with this council was non-existent whatsoever. That's what I don't want anymore.
No, but Jesse, when it was, does that mean we can be assigned additional tasks? And there were heads shaped like this. So we're unpaid people. We're going to start taking on.
Well, I think
things that we didn't sign up for, basically.
Well,
things
no.
that aren't part of
No one's saying anything
That's what I.
Like the lawyer said, hey, we can restructure things.
Right.
You're not saying, hey, we want you to specifically do this.
I don't know exactly what that looks like right now.
Okay, then we can't really make a decision. So, right?
Community outreach. That's what I would want. I would want community outreach, surveying, again, from my understanding, this is something you guys are already doing. Maybe you're not putting it on paper or anything, but from my understanding, this is already happening. Connecting our community together. I don't know. I guess a better explanation would be coming from you guys, what you guys think the community council is. Maybe my description is off. It sounds like mine is off. But I've been a part of it, and that's what I understand. I love the events, and I want the events to continue. But I also want to see, what's happening, prior to those events. Like why are we celebrating? I want to see the why in the celebration. And I'm just looking at this as an opportunity for us to really restructure all of that, is what I'm saying. Like there's not a definitive of how we go about it, but we can come up with that together. That's what I'm trying to go out with. Option, from my understanding, it's sounding like option one would probably be in your guys' best, for you guys in your best
I have to see
interest.
it in writing. I'm still, until I have it in writing in front of me, I'm not really sure what 1 and 2 are. I don't mean to sound stupid.
Well,
It just
in a
makes
sense,
So it's not, that's not.
yeah.
And
in
also, that's valid. First of all, what the community council wants to do is we want to continue doing events for the community. That's what we all signed up for. That's why we all do this.
And you know how much time that takes, by the way.
Yeah.
Volunteer time.
Yeah, and so that's what we want to continue doing. We kind of feel like telling, this is, I'm not speaking for anybody else. To me, what it sounds like to me, if we go under your umbrella, we're now under your protection and your whatever. I kind of feel like I want to talk to an attorney. I would like us to talk to an attorney and find out, because things have changed, I get that. But I want us to be protected. We're not protected by your attorney, I'm putting us under you. He's just protecting you guys,
What?
And we might talk to an attorney, we might go, you're an idiot not to go with them. I would like someone to tell us who's looking out for our best interests before we make those changes.
And I understand that. And what I'm looking at is, again, this is an opportunity to have those conversations, right? You're saying the responsibilities, that might be too much, the direction what the city wants to do. And I mean, that's what I mean about restructuring. We can restructure. If that means adding more council members to your community council, that to me, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to go about it. Like we have to embrace this as a good opportunity for us. And I saw your hand, and I want you to, and I didn't forget about you. You can go ahead and speak. I just wanted to really say that.
She might need the mic.
Well, I'm pretty loud. I have grown up in Kearns. I was born in Hunter, but my parents moved in 1978. I have children who went through Kearns High School and Kearns Junior High. My husband and I both graduated from Kearns High School. I'm Tammy. Question, who is your outreach person on the Kearns City Council? Is there an outreach person that is designated for that at all?
All of us, in a sense.
If the community council gets to do what they get to do, which has been amazing, I, as a Kearns High School student, was in all the parades every year, still love them, still go, etc. is there someone in the community that you can ask to volunteers? No, I'm not saying I will. I just need the information. Or is there a way that a committee of the community, could you build a community
And that's what I'm trying to
committee to make that
propose.
outreach very possible? So we
Right.
get little flyers in the mail, or we get a Facebook post that says, hey, Kearns is having a parade, please don't forget to invite your friends. That outreach has happened, and I've seen it for my whole entire 49 years. My question is, where's that little committee? And wouldn't that be fun to have that committee?
And that's
Yes.
what we do. We do
I know that you guys do.
communication.
And it's been very clear on Facebook and whatever I see that, so I'm just very curious.
And that's the idea, to embrace that and really amplify it. That's my idea of doing that with community council. I don't want to take over the community council, but I really want it to be a we, right? We continue to say they, but we're all working under our community in Kearns. And so I just want to unify it. And I see the stress, I see the tension still, and I don't, I'll be honest, I don't know what that resolution looks like. I want to know, I want you guys to feel comfortable too. And if this doesn't make you feel comfortable, then I understand that. But, that'll help us provide a different direction on where we have to go, I guess, in a sense. But like I said, I am okay with option 1 or option 2. Option 1 would just mean things would have to play out a little differently. I'm fine with that. But I think future-proofing it, option 2 could be a better option to future-proof, if we want to future-proof. But again, depending on this conversation.
Option 2 are in writing. Will really help.
I think we need to move on, Mayor.
Yeah. See, that's where it's different, because I just want it to be resolved. But-
I know.
I get it.
Right, and that's why I thought, providing options and really letting you guys tell us what you're comfortable with is the direction I wanted to go. And that's why we did
And we
that.
are too, but we
Yeah.
need that communication.
Right.
Because it sounds like there has been some miscommunication previously. Until that gets cleared up and we know what we're doing now, we have to see it.
Right.
Like I said.
And that's what
We
I-
don't know what's broke, we can't fix it.
So look at it this way, if, maybe what I proposed for, the vision for the Kearns Community Council, maybe that's not something that you guys are willing to do, or maybe you guys are willing to do it, but it's going to provide these changes that we need to do. Like I said, those are things that I want to talk about with you guys. I'm not saying we continue just the same as it's been. I really want it to, move forward and progress.
We're all for changes, we don't have a problem with change, however, we don't have to give us changes, and that's what we're doing.
Right, and
There's personal vendettas going on, I know it, I've known it for a while, those need to go away. It's frankly, I'm tired of hearing about them. And these are things that can be resolved, but they're not gonna be resolved right this second, because we wanna look at what Nathan has said. Thank you, Nathan, I get to feed that to us, so we're clear, like you guys are clear.
I think we need to move on.
You're not moving.
All right.
Asking the council if it's okay if we need to, if they have a chance to speak.
I want to ask the council if it's okay if we have a PPD and you face speak if they would like. They have anything on? I know
The
it's not
reason you all
showing.
came here, so.
Yeah. I know it's not showing our stakeholders, but we want to give our stakeholders an opportunity. If
I'm
they
gonna
have
have to do it in
anything.
2 minutes. Want me to do 2 minutes?
Yes.
Can
Like
we
that.
time
See?
it? Minutes?
Can we time
Yeah,
it?
go ahead and time it. So Faith will just give you the stat information for your binder. She can keep that. We've added a little more information this time than last time. And then we'll also look at starting to add some of that. We have a thing called spider text. So when you call into dispatch and you have a call that comes to your house, you get a text message after and you can actually respond and survey. Our numbers are actually really good and we'll start including some of that in these responses here in a little bit. So other than that, I think the only thing that's probably notable is obviously you're aware of the shooting that we had yesterday in that case, and it's all the details really are in the news. And I sent you guys that press release earlier today on your work phones. And so, I might be blind, I can still see one finger from across the room. But anyways, I really won't add anything else. There's not really a lot more to really update you guys with. So unless you have any questions for me, for us. Any questions, guys?
No, good job of finding
Yeah.
the perpetrators.
And that again is
Getting them done.
a result of our shared service model. So that's when we have something like that, we push that button and we get an entire division that has multiple units and detectives and forensics and drones and everything in the world comes and shows up and they work all night until they have that resolved at that point, so.
And thank you for the constant communication.
How long did it take to
Council.
catch them?
Less than 12 hours.
I'm curious about that. Awesome, good job.
Doing my best.
Yes. Where's the legend? Because I don't know what this house is. I don't know what that question mark is.
Is it on, right there? Right there, dear.
I need you to look at the whole packet at the same time.
At the exact same time?
We can send.
Oh, well, look at that. All right, thank you.
I see you in the parking lot. Okay. All right, anything else? I'm hilarious. All right. Let's see if fire can top that.
He's my favorite part of these meetings.
You want to talk about it? House fire?
Yeah.
All right, thanks for having us talk. Just real quick, keep it short too. A few of these officers were on the house fire that we had on January 29th. It was a pretty significant incident. I want to touch how all of our shared services that UFA provides, as well as the community, it had a good outcome for what could have been a bad outcome, well, luckily. So kind of a brief story of what happened was, it was about around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on January 29th. Multiple reports of people calling in for a house fire.
Yeah.
There's not really reports of anybody trapped yet, but we did have reports that there was a house fire. So I happened to be working that shift. I ended up being the incident commander on it. As soon as all those details came in, we did have smoke showing, and then police arrived first, and then our dispatch reported that there was an active house fire and that there were possible victims. UPD did a fantastic job by blocking the streets for us and allowing us to get in. A few of the officers found 2 victims in the backyard that were able to escape the house. Then we also got reports. Angie came up to me individually and said there might be reports of a father and a daughter still trapped in the home. We immediately had the 2 victims transported via ambulance. From the time of our arrival to the time they were transported was less than 10 minutes. One was critical and one was in stable condition. Still not aware of the condition of those patients right now. But between having possible victims still inside, we made that risk versus benefit. We sent multiple crews inside unprotected on a hose line to search for those victims. Talking about how Levi talks about shared services, UFA has a heavy rescue company. We have 2 of them in the valley, and their specific job is one of them is they're basically the firefighter's firefighter. So if one of us gets a mayday or trapped, they're the ones that go in and save us. So we had them on standby because we put a lot of guys at risk for searching for these victims. Fortunately, nobody else was trapped inside. The cause of the fire ended up being multiple extension cords loaded on top of each other in another bedroom. And then multiple electronics were also in there with like lithium batteries. And as soon as those catch on fire, it's pretty hard to control. So I appreciate the community calling 911 and helping with those victims, those UPD. The guys did a great job, and the unfortunate incident turned to be a good outcome. So, other than that, does anybody have any questions in regards to that incident or anything else in regards to UFA?
Appreciate the update. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Agreed.
Do you have any I believe that's all of our stakeholders.
Okay.
Oh, Paul. Yes, Paula, Kearns Community Council.
I just wanted to let you guys know a little thing that was going on. that I've been working on. I need that. I've been working on this and not behind closed doors, no secret deals, nothing like that. We'll set the record straight. And it came to pass that I'm working on this as a surprise for you guys and the community, because we heard that people don't quite know what district they live in, and it is hard to tell. So I have been working with the MSD. I would like to present to you tonight the official Kearns community map. It has our physical boundaries, and it also has the districts on here. This is the MSD prepared this and researched it. It also has all the street addresses on it. So I will present this to you guys tonight. Now we have an official.
Thank you.
I do have one for you, okay, and you can get it if you'd like one. If not, let me know.
You videotape 3?
Three.
We'll take UFAs.
We'll
take UFAs.
This is really great. It was a must need. And it looks really good. Looks really good. We were actually working with our
I was gonna say, where's Lauren?
Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, they did a great job for me.
That's great.
I wanted it to be. a
You've even
surprise.
got bus stops on here.
Yeah, this is great. So I had our MSD comms team help get rid of one of the older maps, but it's nothing like this. This is amazing. So we'll be able to
Well, yeah,
implement this
and I
one.
do have some smaller ones.
Yeah.
If you want an individual smaller one.
No,
It's hard to read.
this is great. Yeah, I think it's probably a must that it's this size. So,
That's official.
yeah.
If only
This is
we had a
good.
city hall to hang.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you. This will be great.
Paul will let us use your conference room over there, right? Put the map in there.
So we're gonna have one right behind you.
Perfect.
All right.
That's so cool.
Sit it right there. All right. I was going to do a mayor's update, but I think we're gonna hold that off until March. Save us a little bit of time. I think we went through everything and we need to go
We need a
into,
closed session, yeah, on items 11A, D, and C. So if you want, Mayor, I can make the motion and then someone could say so moved in second.
Yeah.
So the motion would be, I move to go into closed session to discuss the character, professional competence, or physical or mental health of an individual. Strategy session to discuss pending reasonable imminent litigation. Strategy sessions to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property.
So moved.
all in favor,
Aye.
Oh, we need a second.
We need a second.
Oh, second. I'll second.
There you go.
all in favor.
I'm tired.
Aye. Okay, good.
I'm not gonna shake a big coffee.
Oh, yeah, she has.